Friends, welcome to all of you to our today's session. The previous class, we have almost completed the concept of memorandum of, concept of articles of association, and prior to that, we had already covered the concept of memorandum of association. This MOA and AOA, as you know, both are very important documents associated with the formation of the company. When you want to form a company, these are the two documents needs to be drafted and needs to be attached at the time of filing of our application for incorporation. And you already know, when you talk about memorandum, in fact, that is the document that recognizes constitution of the company, that talks about exactly who are the members and what is the name of the company, where is the registered office is going to be located, what is the object for which company is formed, and what will be the liability, what is the capital, who will be subscribing to the memorandum. All these things are described in that document. And coming to article here, these things like internal rules and regulations are discussed in the articles of association. And also, a public company need not have article, it can adopt a particular table. And you have already visited the Ministry of Corporate Affairs website. Formats of memorandum of association and articles of association are already there. In the prescribed tables are there. One may refer there too. Today, friends, let us try to distinguish between these two, MOA and AOA, right? Once we're already having this fundamental knowledge or basic idea we have, now let us come to the distinction part. So let me share the screen with you right now. Yeah. Yeah. Are you able to see this comparison table? Comparison between MOA and AOA. So many times in many examinations, this is a standard question. Distinguish between MOA, differentiate between these two. So first point, as you see, that memorandum of association is the fundamental document. As you know, companies formed on the basis of this document. This talks about everything about the company, what the company can do, what the company cannot do. All these things are described in this document called as memorandum of association. Whereas coming to articles of association, it's not a fundamental document. Rather, you can say it is the subsidiary document. Subsidiary document means you may say it is subordinate to memorandum of association. If something is, you see, articles of association, it talks about internal rules and regulations. And internal rules and regulations are relevant only when the company has power to do something. Is it not? Let us say company's objective says, one of the objective of the company is that it can borrow loan. Then how a loan can be borrowed? Who will be signing that loan application agreement? Those things may be prescribed in the articles of association. But if the power is not there, then articles of association is helpless. So therefore, it is say MOA is the fundamental document, whereas this articles of association is the subsidiary. Did you understand this concept? Or this is the primary document, MOA, and AOA is the subsidiary document. Next point is that coming to MOA, it is the charter of the company. Charter of the company means it describes the constitution of the company. Company is constituted on the basis of this document. Whereas AOA contains the rules and regulations of the company. Rules and regulations in the sense internal rules and regulations, how a particular activities can be carried out, that may be described in the articles of association. And next point is that MOA dictates the external and internal affairs of the company. External means company's power is described in that document. Okay. And whereas articles of association, it dictates only internal affairs of the company. Internally, how meeting can be held, how our shares can be transferred, okay, how, let us say, voting power can be exercised. So all these things are described in articles of association. Next point of distinction is that MOA has effects on the members as well as outsiders. right? It has effect. So members and outsiders, they read the MOA, and on that basis they take decisions. Whereas AOA, definitely it affects the members. Members are also bound by the AOA. That is one thing. But it is also relevant for the employees of the company because it contains the internal rules and regulations. So employees of the company are also expected to be aware of these rules and regulations. Therefore, AOA is also relevant for employees. Okay, these 4 points you have understood. Distinction between AOA and AOA. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Now, other points are there. First, these 4 points are over. Let us move to the next point. Next point is the concept of ratification. You know what is ratification? Any idea you have what is ratification? Ratification means, let us say, something which is not initially allowed, but later on we got it, you can say, legalized. Okay, or got it approved. Something which was initially prohibited, but later on we got it done. We got it validated. I think that is the better term for this.
Rectification in the rules and regulation letter.
A letter. Something like with the retrospective effect, you are correcting something. That is called as a ratification. Okay. So let us see how, so far as this ratification issues are concerned, let us see how MOA and AOAs are different. First, friends, please see that if MOA ratification is required, we'll see whether it is possible or not. No act can be ratified which is done beyond the memorandum. Let us say memorandum does not allow something. So something is not permitted. It is not that later on you can amend memorandum with retrospective effect. No, that's not possible. The memorandum can be amended, but only prospectively, not retrospectively. And if something is not there in the memorandum, but still you are doing it, that concept is called as the doctrine of ultra vires. Okay, are you able to read? Doctrine of ultra vires. Doctrine means principle. Ultra vire means ultra vires means ultra vires. Okay, there are two concepts in law we use, that is called as intra vires and ultra vires. Intra vires means within the power of something. Ultra vires means beyond the power. Right. So memorandum has given power to the company. Our company has been constituted with certain powers. And if you go beyond that, that is ultra vires. That means you are not supposed to do it. For example, suppose company's memorandum says these are the activities that the company can. Nowhere it has been mentioned that company can, let us say, construct a building. But still company is constructing a building means this is ultra vires. This power is not given in the memorandum of association, but still company has done it. This is ultra vires. Now question comes, if some ultra vires act has been done, can it be ratified? Answer is no. It cannot be ratified. Prospectively, you can make amendment in the memorandum. That's possible. But with retrospectively, you cannot do it. Therefore, whatever has been done, let us say something is ultra vires, that cannot be ratified. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, this principle of this thing, doctrine of ultra vires, we'll be learning after some time. But right now, just understand that when you say doctrine of ultra vires, that means the principle of something beyond the power of the company. Okay, friends? But whereas coming to articles of association, an act covered by the articles of association can be ratified by majority principle. Majority principle means if shareholders, suppose something is not there in articles of association, suppose articles of association says that board of director can take this decision. Okay, so company has given power to board, or let us say it says, let us take this example, the board of director can do this something, but actually board has not done, one particular director has signed and that act has been done. So that is ultra vires to the articles of association because article has not given this permission. is it not beyond the scope of articles, beyond the power of the power which is given under articles of association? Yes or no? Let me give an example. Suppose articles of the association says that company can buy property only when the entire board agrees. But entire board meeting has not been held, but one director has purchased property in the name of the company. So this is an act which is ultra vires of the AOA, ultra vires of the articles of association. Are you getting it?
Yes,
If
sir.
it is ultra vires of the,
Yes.
are you getting it? Now, if it's ultra, but it is allowed within the memorandum. Memorandum of association allows that, but articles says it's something different. So if that is so, then what can happen? What can happen? This can be ratified. Shareholders of the company can ratify. Shareholders of the company may approve that. So majority of the shareholders agreed, okay, that has been done, but we ratify that. Whatever has been done, we accept that thing. And with this, they are validating the act. That possibilities are also there. This concept is called as doctrine of indoor management. That means inside whatever is happening, that can be correct. Okay, or there is a slight different meaning of this principle, or that is the principle or doctrine of indoor management. That means outsiders has got a right to assume that internally what has been happened, that has been, that means actually that has been properly happened. Are you getting it? I think this needs little more explanation. Did you understand what is the doctrine of indoor management? Anyway, I'll be explaining it in detail, maybe after some time. But right now, let me tell you the two principles I told you. One is doctrine of ultra vires, you have understood. Another principle is doctrine of indoor management. We'll be learning one more principle also, doctrine of constructive notice. At that time, indoor management will be able to understand it better. But when you say doctrine of indoor management, you have to understand something like this. Suppose an outsider is there. He can definitely, he has got a right to assume that all the internal managements, that means if something has to be done by the company internal, that has been properly done, that an outsider can assume. For example, let us say company's internal rules and regulations says that for a particular contract, at least 2 directors has to sign. Are you getting? But when outsider has entered into a contract, and in that contract only one director has signed that contract, one may say contract is not valid because 2 directors are supposed to sign, only one director has signed here. Did you understand?
Relations का
Yes,
part है
Okay, are you getting it? Are you getting me?
इसी का part है
But if you follow
Yes,
the
sir.
principle of doctrine of
इसका back
indoor
page.
management, according to this principle, you have to understand that the outsider has got a right to assume
provisional registration
that
certificate of provisional
internally
registration
everything has properly happened. Okay. Yeah, Sakti, please mute yourself. I have anyway muted you. That means internal rules and regulations are properly compliant. That is what an outsiders can achieve. This concept is called as doctrine of indoor management. Anyway, I'll be explaining it once again. When I'll be explaining you the one more principle that is called as doctrine of constructive notice. At that time, I'll be explaining you. But right now, just please understand that if something is beyond the power of memorandum, that cannot be ratified, but something which is beyond the power of articles or articles of association, that can be ratified. And one more distinction is that the memorandum of association is bound to observe the provisions of the act and other law in force. That means it has to be within the framework of law. The provisions of the Companies Act 2013 needs to be compliant. If some other law is applicable to the company, those laws are also needs to be compliant. And articles of association, no doubt, they need to comply the Companies Act, comply with the provisions of Companies Act 2013. That is A. B is that any other law in force, that is B, and C point is that they also need to comply with the provisions of MOA. Therefore, it is say AOA is subordinate to MOA. So MOA can comply with Companies Act and other laws. AOA has to comply with the Companies Act, other law, and memorandum of association. Did you understand this?
Sir,
Yes, please.
Sir?
Yeah, please tell.
sir, here that in AOA, any other law in force. That
Any
is
other law
in force. Sir, in force stands for that. Sir, it stands for in what way, sir? In force.
Okay, you see, so there are many laws in our country. Okay, so when you say any other law enforcement, if some other law is applicable, you have to comply with that. For example, let us say if you have, let us say, incorporated the company, you have to definitely follow the provisions of company law. Company law says so many things. Let us say you have to hold these many board meetings, you have to hold it, you have to hold general meeting, you have to hold it, you have to issue notice, you have to do it, because all these are the provisions of the company. Okay, let us say other laws are also applicable. So other law says if you do some supply, you have to pay GST. If you earn some income, you have to pay income tax. Now these are two different laws. Is it not? GST law is different, income tax law is different. Or anything
So
you
that
do.
these are so then these are coming under force, na? GST
Yeah,
and all
any
that.
law which is in force, which is applicable to
Got
the
it.
company. Suppose you are doing some specific activity, you might be needing some license for that.
Right.
Okay, suppose you are
Right.
opening an industry, then you might be needing some specific license. You are dealing with, let us say, food product, you might have to deal with specific license. So different laws are. So not only you have to comply with the Companies Act 2013, if any other law which is in force is also applicable, that also needs to be complied with.
Got it, sir.
Thank you. Okay, is it clear up to this?
Sir, very much.
Okay, now friends, yeah, now this concept will again understand. Again, I will go back to the doctrine of ultra vires. This, in fact, the doctrine of ultra vires, doctrine of constructive notice, doctrine of indoor management. We plan to learn it separate. Maybe the next session we'll try to do it. Today, to a very little extent, we'll try to cover that thing. So, as you know, basically, as I told you, two terms are important. One is the meaning of intra vires. Second is meaning of ultra vires. Okay, intra vires means what? What is the meaning of intra vires? Meaning within the power.
Internal.
Within the power. Okay, or you can say within the authority. When you say ultra vires, that means beyond the power or beyond the authority. Any act means any activity which is carried out or carried on by a company. It can be ultra vires, it can be intra vires. And so far as ultra vires is concerned, it can be ultra vires to the memorandum. That means with the memorandum, that power is not there, but still you are doing. That is ultra vires to the memorandum. It can be ultra vires to the articles. That means articles of association has not given that power, but still that activity is carried on. That is ultra vires to the articles. It may be ultra vires to directors. That means company has power. AOA has also given power, but power is not with directors. But director has done that thing. So that act becomes ultra vires to the directors. Or there is one more thing, ultra vires to the act itself. That means that power is not there in the Companies Act. Law specifically says that this cannot be done, but still that act is carried out. So a particular act can be ultra vires to the act itself. It can be ultra vires to the director's powers. It can be ultra vires to articles, or it can be ultra vires to memorandum. These possibilities are there. Did you understand? Is it clear to you? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, one by one, let us understand how to deal with this situation. If something is ultra vires to the memorandum, that means it is contrary or in excess of the scope of activities of the company. Scope of activities means when the memorandum was registered, at that time it has been clearly mentioned that this is the scope of activities. Where it is mentioned, you have already seen the object clause. Have you remembered when I showed you the memorandum? You have seen there is an object clause. There are the list of items which a company can do, which a company cannot do. Have you remembered, or should I show it again? If you have forgotten, I would like to show you. Would you like to
Sir,
see it?
please show.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Would you like? Yeah. Just a minute. I'll be
Yes, sir.
sharing. Just give me 1 second. And let me open some memorandum. Oh. Yeah, and there is one e-memorandum. I got it. Yeah, are you able to see it now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you see memorandum. Now here,
Yes, sir.
this is the objective. This is the objective of the company. That means you see these are so many activities which the company can do. Right? Let us say they carry on the business of seed production, processing, trading. Okay, independently as merchants, dependently. You see, these are the activities which the company can do. In addition to that, these are the incidental activities which the company can do. Right? You see, so many list of activities are there. All these things, you can say this is the scope of activities. This is scope of activities. Understood? Are you able to see it? It is in fact a very long list. All these things a company can do because it is there in the scope. Are you understanding?
Yes, sir. And
Okay.
if we do beyond than that,
If you
then
do
that
beyond
would-
that, let us say this is this is something like a agro-based company. So objective is like this. But let us say you will do something different which is not there. You'll start opening a hotel. Is it there in the memorandum? It's not there. That means what you are doing, that particular act, the act of opening a hotel, what we call it, it's a beyond power of the memorandum.
ultra.
Ultra vires, right? Ultra vires. So if this is ultra vires, then we are helpless. That cannot be ratified. Suppose now you see, critical situation you see. Suppose you have decided to open a hotel. This company decided to open a hotel. Okay, right? And it gave a contract to a particular contractor that you construct a building for us. Contractor constructed a building, right? And contractor raised a bill to the company. See, I have constructed the building. Please pay us. Company said, no, we are not paying. Our company was ready to pay, but the director of finance didn't approve it. No, we are not paying. Why you are not paying? Because company cannot pay. Because this is something which company cannot do. And that is right. Company cannot do. Company actually cannot pay. So this is something wrong. Cannot be ratified even. So this will be the loss to the contractor. Contractor also cannot do anything because memorandum of association is a public document. And contractor is supposed to know that what the company can do, what the company cannot do. You cannot say, I don't know, I have not read memorandum. That is the concept, what we call it as the doctrine of constructive notice. That means you have already been notified because it's a public document. And if you are ignorant, you cannot be excused for that. You know that concept. Ignorance of law is no excuse. So memorandum is a public document and it has clearly mentioned this is what company can do, and company has done something ultra vires. So if the company is not paying, then you cannot do anything. Now, are you able to understand the importance of MOA and importance of an act which is ultra vires? So when a memorandum is to be drafted, these provisions is to be drafted very carefully. If now company wants to open a hotel, they can do it by altering memorandum. But whatever has happened, that has happened. Memorandum cannot be ratified. Are you getting me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, once again, let me explain that concept. So, something which is in excess of scope of activities of the company, that is called as the doctrine of, that is called as the ultra vires. That means it's the beyond legal power or beyond authority of the company. This can neither be legalized nor ratified. Understood this concept? Ultra vires or memorandum.
Yes, sir.
But if it is ultra vires to the articles of association, it can be ratified by altering the articles by special things. Articles can be altered.
So as it is the internal matter,
Yeah, that may be the
internally it
logic.
can be sorted out.
It can be sorted. Right. But let us say something is ultra vires to the directors. Directors means director doesn't have power, but he has done it. Then that also can be ratified. Where in general body meeting, shareholders may approve that. Let us say director doesn't have any right to borrow money from the bank, but company has borrowed money. So it is ultra vires to the directors. Director's power is not there. Company has power. It is there in the memorandum. If it is not there in the memorandum, it is mentioned that company, nowhere it is mentioned that company can borrow money. Then company can never borrow money. Company can never take a loan unless it is mentioned in the memorandum. Are you
Hello.
able to appreciate?
Hello.
Yeah. Are you able to
Sir,
appreciate? Yeah.
sir,
Tell me.
sometimes the shareholders of the company got
Yeah.
a mail for the voting rights.
Yes.
So is it a intra vire or ultra vire?
You see, that is a normal procedure. Shareholders has got a right to vote. They might have received a notice to come to a general meeting to vote. Right. So there is nothing ultra vires as regards to that. When you're talking about ultra vires, we're talking about the powers of the company. But this
Okay.
voting right is a right of the shareholder. Anyway, all these concepts that voting rights, etc., we'll be discussing. We have to learn the topic of meetings. At that time, I will be addressing that. Don't worry about this.
Okay.
Right now, if you want to understand, meeting videos are there. You can watch it. Things will be clear to you. But anyway, we'll be learning it again. Meeting part. At that time, things will be clear.
Okay.
Okay, what is voting power, etc. Right. So, yeah, this is what we are learning now. If something is beyond the power of the directors, this also can be ratified by the shareholders, but provided it should be within the powers of a board. But if it is, let us say, ultra vires to the act, that means something prohibited in the act itself, but still company has done it. Company has done something illegal. Then nothing can ratify it. Even all the shareholders are agreeing to it, then still that cannot be ratified. That cannot be legalized, that cannot be ratified. Did you understand this?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, let me show you this particular picture. Now you see. Now you see. Are you able to see it? If something is within the power, that is called as intra vires. Beyond the power, that is called as ultra vires. Okay. So if it is ultra vires to the directors, ultra vires to the powers of the director, ultra vires to the articles, then you can ratify. That is allowed. But if it is ultra vires to the memorandum or ultra vires to the Companies Act, that is not. Okay. Understood?
Yes. Yes.
Understood. So these two things can be ratified. These two things cannot be ratified. Did you understand this concept? Doctrine of ultra vires.
Yes.
For example, let us say articles of us. Yeah, you are asking something. Please ask. You have a query, please ask. Are you asking something?
No, sir.
Okay. Fine. So, friends, now today we understood what is the difference between MOA and AOA and the concept of ultravires. But again, the concept of ultravires or the doctrine of ultravires we'll be learning. And one more concept also you'll be learning, but I gave you example today. If something is mentioned in the memorandum of association or something is mentioned in the articles of association, it will be assumed that everybody, the general public, is aware of that. You cannot say, I don't know what is there in the memorandum, but I have entered in the contract, you have to pay. You cannot argue like this. Why you cannot argue? Because MOA and AOA both are public documents. It is publicly available. When you are dealing with the company, you are supposed to know about that. Okay, so this principle that is assuming that the public is aware of the powers of the company is called as doctrine of constructive notice. That means as if notice has already been given to the company. Okay, this is the powers of the company, and company is doing something beyond that, and you are entering, you are dealing with that company. That means you are doing it at your own risk. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Right. So even if ultravires company is doing, but you are doing, you are dealing with the company at your own risk. If the company refuses to meet his obligations, then you cannot do anything because that is ultravires. Understood the doctrine of constructive notice? And there is opposite rule. Opposite to this is called as the doctrine of indoor management. Indoor management means as an outsider, let us say I am dealing with the company. Let's say I am dealing with the company. Okay. And company, your internal rule says that each check has to be signed by 2 directors. And you have given me a check where 1 director has been signed. I was not knowing that. I took it, deposited in the bank. Okay, it got cleared also. Let us say check. Instruction with the banker is that it can be cleared with 1 signature also. But internal rule says 2 directors should sign. I got it clear. But later on, company is saying this is a wrong payment because this is beyond power of the company. Then I can very well say, you see, your internal things, that is your issue. How can I, as an outsider, I will be knowing it? Okay, so whatever you are talking about, that check is invalid, maybe as per your internal rule, check may be invalid. But that is your indoor management. So I will take help of this principle, that doctrine of indoor management. I will say, I am not aware of that. You have given me the check, I have received, valid, that's all. So now you can see, the doctrine of indoor management helps the outsiders, and doctrine of constructive notice helps the company. So these are 2 doctrines or 2 principles which are opposite to each other. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir. Very well.
So what we'll do, friends, this concept we'll be discussing in detail. In fact, these 3 principles we'll be discussing. Let us keep a separate session for this concept of ultravires and these 2 doctrines. These are 2 important concepts in the company law. Let us discuss in a separate class. Next class probably will catch up with all these concepts. Okay, any other issue you have? Any other query you have? No? Okay, I guess there is no other query. Thank you very much. We'll catch up in your next class. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.